Hey guys, Booligan here with Booligan Airsoft and Shooting Sports. If you watched the previous video right before this one on the ASG CZ75 SP-01 Shadow in gray, you'll know what's coming up now. Now we're looking at the ASG CZ P-09, also in gray. Now, I have tested out several of these guns. I have tested out. These are kind of mix and matched at this point. This is a Gen 1 that I did a two-tone slide finish on and added the threaded barrel from the Gen 2 with the tan frame. You may notice this is missing the rear sight because I had a red dot sight mounted on there instead, but now it's that red dot sight's being used for other things. So I tested out this guy, and now we are looking at the latest generation, the gray model. Let's go ahead, take this big can off. That's probably the biggest, one of the biggest things on this is that you've got that threaded barrel. And take that can off, make it a little bit easier to keep in frame. The mock suppressor that I'm running on there is I believe it's an Angel Customs Disruptor from eVic. Love that thing. It works really, really well. So now we have the gun itself, still accessorized with an Olight PL2 Valkyrie. As I mentioned in the last video on that thing, it's my favorite pistol light. The gun itself is not too crazy of changes between this and the older models. The big difference being obviously the gray colored frame. It's a very matte colored light gray. Really, really like it. And the addition now of suppressor height sights. Just like on the Shadow back there, the kit includes both regular height sights as well as the suppressor height sight. So if you're going to run a can on that 14mm negative threaded muzzle, perfect. You already have the sights ready to go. If you want to run just standard sights, you can do that as well. Just pop these off, really easy. It includes the tools to do it, and slide in the included standard height sights. The other thing that this includes is a muzzle protector, or a muzzle thread protector, which is metal, and I don't know if it's painted or if it's powder coated or what, but it's a super, super durable orange finish that's on there that the chemical stripper I used would not take off. Couldn't get rid of it. It was crazy. So I might have to take those and actually get them sandblasted to get that old orange finish off, because I'd love to have some black muzzle protector on there for gameplay use, and then for transport, just leave that orange painted tip exposed. One note on that orange tip is the same thing that I noted on the Shadow review, is that the paint is actually on the threads and it is very tight, very, very tight specs. So some muzzle devices, you may have to chase those threads out a little bit. You may have to almost have a cutting tool, just a sharp steel, a good muzzle device to just screw on and off a couple of times to try to get any of that excess paint off, because otherwise it may just be too tight. I had a couple of muzzle devices that just wouldn't thread on about more than halfway because it is so tight. It is to spec, it was made perfectly to spec and then painted orange. So obviously that closed up a little bit of that space. But as far as the rest of the details on the gun, you could see a lot of my previous reviews on the P-09. I'm a big fan of it. It is probably my favorite polymer frame full-size pistol. It just fits your hand super well. The double action, single action mode works extremely well. You have a great short trigger pull, and then your trigger reset is very tactile, and you can hear it. You can chase that reset and double tap with this thing super, super easily. Now with that threaded barrel and suppressor height sights, it's easy to throw a tracer unit on this and run it at night, as sort of a little pistol primary. That with a really bright flashlight like this, and you're a force to be reckoned with. Velocity on these is going to vary depending on whether you're running CO2 or green gas. The one that I got is the CO2 magazine, but the green gas one will function in this as well. You just may have some issues running green gas with a muzzle device on, just because it really needs to have that extra oomph to get the slide going. And you're not going to want to run too heavy of a muzzle device, obviously, just because of the way that this, it's the way that the barrel locks into the slide. So just use a little caution. Don't put a 4-pound brick on the front of this thing and you should be good to go. But your velocity is going to vary. With the green gas, it's going to shoot right around 310. With the CO2, it may shoot up around 350, just obviously depending on ambient weather and gun condition and a million other factors. Every gun's a little bit different, but you can kind of expect that when you're shooting it. So many thanks to ASG for sending this over, and you can see some cool projects that we're going to do with these coming up in the future. This, as well as the SP-01 Shadow. Going to do some cool mix and match with some of the other guns that I have, some of the other CZs that I have, to build just what I think is my ultimate combat version of each of these. So stay tuned for that. And stay tuned for many more things coming on this channel soon. As always, thanks for watching.